The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Yeah, listen only. Yeah, how do people listen only mode on it? Thanks to the lockdown, I request everybody to mute their mics, please. The lockdown, we cannot physically meet each other, but online that we are together today. And I also welcome all the attendees. There are a lot of people who've joined the webinar to attend the webinar. A lot of people have registered for it. The webinar essentially today is around boosting immunity with natural products with the current pandemic of COVID-19 and much more that we are predicting with virologists, epidemiologists, and scientists and researchers predicting many more such pandemics and epidemics in the near future. I think immunity is on everybody's mind. In fact, I was seeing a very interesting analysis of what is the most Googled word on the internet today, and it turns out to be immunity. And everything about immunity is what people are looking for. And keeping that in mind, it's very relevant what we are talking about today. I would request, and it's actually a pleasure to have Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, the president of Assocham, to take out his time and join us for this webinar today. So I'd request Sir to give us some opening remarks, after which we'll take this webinar forward.
Good afternoon to all of you. It's so lovely to be able to be on the webinar and all of us in different locations. I think the new normal has happened where we are in our home, we are in the comforts of our houses and still being able to connect. So we really don't have to extend. Somebody told me that, it's such a bad thing that we are not able to get together and meet up personally. But I think people are getting used to this new normal where they want to be in their houses, comfort, and still be able to connect to the. So I'm a little challenged in terms of how this whole thing as a post-COVID is going to be there. When you talk about the post-COVID and beyond, I think there is a challenge that we will all face in terms of the new norm that we do. Talking about what it is today, what is the challenge of COVID? The mortality rate is much lower than most of the other common diseases that we know about. But still, there is a lot of fear in the mind because the morbidity in terms of mortality, in terms of it, though being very, very low as compared to most of the diseases that we are affected by, but the fear which has been put in, quite rightly so that people will follow the instructions of the government and the powers that be in order to see that people do take care of themselves and do follow the instructions. So the fear level has been created. But what do we really see? People having good all-round health are the persons who are least affected by the COVID situation. And those who enter the hospitals and are generally healthy and fit are the best ones to recover faster with less problems that they face. I unfortunately run a hospital in Mumbai, and we do get reports of people who have comorbidity, which is one story, and about young people who have no fitness level whatsoever. And that is another problem. So you do see younger people, but who are not fit, are really also getting into difficulty in terms of their immunity level. So I think that's an extremely important thing, which I think our committee, Assocham, must propagate to the people, the need to be generally fit. Fortunately for us, we have a beloved Prime Minister who has propagated all these ideas of general fitness, not only to India, but the entire world. As you are aware, he brought in the Yoga Day, which brings about a new level of fitness, which is required to be done, which is our ancient times thing. And those who actually follow fitness in terms of breathing, in terms of being able to remain on stretches and taking care of their health are the persons who are less likely to have any difficulty in this system. The third part of it is how do we really boost the other part of our immunity and systems that we really need to do? So, generally, looking after your health, yes. Being fit, yes. Keeping proper sleep, yes. But after that, what? And that is what this panel here is going to add upon. And I'm really looking forward to hear from those people in industry, in various aspects of our society, who will bring about the different ideas that we want to put on the table today. So I'm extremely delighted that the panel has been created at an appropriate time when we actually need to propagate this idea. Yes, we need the vaccine. Yes, we do need all the other treatments in terms of oxygen and other levels. But how do we create these new ideas of fitness? How do we propagate to all the people the need to understand what is it that our older ideas and systems of alternate medicine have worked for us so beautifully? What is it in terms of food that we need to take care of? What is it generally, if you have a disciplined life, you may not live a longer life, but you can certainly live a more healthy life. You can have a life with better immunity system and better thought processes and will completely change the way you will live life. I think that's a beautiful thought, and I must congratulate Manjari Nanchandra for doing a wonderful job in terms of being here today and also conducting this program. Dr. Mohd Majeed, thank you very much, sir, for coming over here and sharing your ideas. Eid Mubarak to you also, and have a really wonderful Eid celebration today by sharing all the beautiful thoughts to the rest of the world and giving good ideas so that they can also celebrate many Eids after this. Dr. Rana, thank you very much for being over here. Blossom Kochar, thank you. Thank you for being over here. It's so nice to see you. And it'll be wonderful to get your ideas. And of course, Dr. Narendra Tripathi, thank you so much for being over here today. So we are all looking forward to various ideas and thoughts and processes, which I think will help us to make this paradigm not in the short run, not only today, but a paradigm of thought, a paradigm which will help India to completely change. When people talked about that program of yoga in America and call it a yoga day, people all said, what is all this required? Surprisingly, the amount of yoga taken up by the Americans doubled within 3 months. So it is important to propagate these thoughts. It is important to communicate to the people of India that we can make that change in the health and thought processes. Your program today is extremely important to lay the baseline of these new ideas. Thank you very much. I wish you the very best for this program.
Okay. I really thank you, Dr. Hiranandani. That was so beautifully put, and I think perfectly sets the tone of the webinar today. We also have been, Assocham has been really blessed with the blessings and the support of the Honorable Union Minister of State for Ayush, the Minister of State for Defense, Government of India, Shri Shripad Yeso Naik, and he's also sent a specific letter drafted to wish us good luck, and he sent all his blessings and wishes for this webinar and the project that Assocham will be taking forward in terms of building immunity and how our natural processes, and as Dr. Hiranandani said, our natural ingredients can help us go with not just this pandemic, but much more that we'll have to probably brave in the coming times. So that's the letter from the union, from the Minister of Ayush, and it's very kind of him to send that to Assocham. So we really thank him from the bottom of our heart for doing that. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll now take this forward. So essentially, why we're here today is, as Dr. Hiranandani correctly said, absolutely correctly said, is that it's not just about the fact that we are in a situation, as he said, that he runs this hospital and the mortality rate is not that high from COVID-19 itself, and the chances that the virus will affect many of us is very high, though it will really not impact us much in terms of our health. It is mostly, as he correctly said, immunocompromised people, people who have either debilitating conditions, people who have cancers, diabetes, are on some form of immunology treatment, some things like, failing kidneys, on dialysis, people who have chronic degenerative diseases, who have very high hypertension, heart diseases, who are known cases of renal failure and fatty livers, people who also have, compromised immunity because of autoimmune conditions. So these are the people who are more susceptible to the virus, and they have more chances of the virus harming them or becoming fatal for them because they're immune compromised. But another category of people that are also very susceptible to the virus and this pandemic or COVID 19 is people who are not very healthy. So, people like me and many more who are in our early 30s or late 40s or early 50s, who are not really immunocompromised in terms of disease, but are not very healthy. As he correctly said, are not fit, may not be following the right food, may not have the right sleep cycles, generally rendering them unhealthy. And when we become unhealthy or we are moderately or largely overweight, it also predisposes us to become immunocompromised. And that was another category of young people who are also susceptible to such infections and such sort of viral, pandemics or viral infections. So the pathogen is going to affect anybody who is immunocompromised. And because besides the mainline treatment of going to a doctor, getting yourself tested, or sometimes getting admitted if required, our only source of strength to this situation, our only savior here is our own health and our own immunity. And as Dr. Hiranandani was saying, that it's really not rocket science. A lot of our immunity is there in our old, natural sciences. The way we lived for thousands of years, we were following the right principles and techniques that kept us in a high levels of immunity. Cardinal cycles, for example, the simple concepts of sleeping on time, of getting up on time, or eating lesser, the Ayurvedic principles of only eating half of your stomach, doing some form of fasting, whether it was religious or cultural, building up a sense of being physically active, not being sedentary for a very long time, avoiding any form of addiction. All of it was keeping us very, very sane, very, very healthy, and it was keeping us away from a lot of diseases. Also, another important thing that this pandemic will lead to is that the fact that modern medicine and research is only focusing on diseases which are more what we call the non-communicable diseases. People, we were only talking about cancers and diabetes and heart disease and hormonal imbalances. Infection was really not something where research was happening, and infection was not something that a lot of people were talking about. That was not the common medical, all conferences, all discussions, all papers, all research was focused on non-communicable diseases. Now, with this particular virus, with the coronavirus in focus now, I think there will be a lot more impetus, lot more research, lot more studying of the viruses, and the fact that we have to build up our immunity to fight any form of pathogen, whether it is a virus, a bacteria, a fungi, even things like 5G. The fact that we are going to be exposed to such networks and such electromagnetic frequencies is also really dulling for our immunity. So that's why it's very, very relevant to talk about immunity. It's very relevant to focus on what is it that really helps us with the immunity and what can we as individuals do about ourselves and our communities. So I will now invite Dr. D.S. Rana Dr. Rana, of course, as all of us know, is a very, very senior clinician. He is the chairman of Assocham National Wealth Council and also the chairman of Sri Gangaram Hospital. Dr. Rana is a Padam Shri and a BC Roy awardee. And I request Dr. Rana to shed some light on what really immunity is, how it functions in the human body, and how we can help ourselves today. Over to you, Dr. Rana.
Thank you, Dr. Vajri, and my thanks to Dr. Hiranandani for giving me the second time for this wellness conference. All of us are born with innate immunity against certain diseases. Innate means that we are born and we can fight certain diseases. And we get acquired immunity whenever we are exposed to certain infections in the lifetime. And in India, we are exposed to so many infections where we have got immunity against them. But unfortunately, viral diseases, we are not having much immunity. We are not a long-lasting immunity for any viral diseases. And you require vaccination to produce something like semi-permanent or sometimes permanent immunity. Or sometimes temporary immunity is also produced by this repeated infection whenever you are getting, or like let's say somebody getting a COVID infection, they get some sort of immunity for some time, but not a very lasting immunity. That is why you are getting surge of another infection after 3-4 months sometimes. So it is important that we have acquired immunity, and acquired immunity can be done only by vaccination. And vaccination, so many vaccines are pipeline for COVID, this coronavirus, novel coronavirus, and maybe that maybe in next 6 months to almost 1.5 years, we will have some vaccine. It can be 6 months, which maybe as like 1.5 years, and we really do not know whether that vaccine is going to give us long-lasting immunity or what sort of vaccine it will be, and all various factors. But till that we have immunity, Dr. Hiranandani very nicely, very eloquently summarized the way of our living, way of our thinking, and yoga and diet. They are the sources. They are also sources that they can augment our immunity, or they can put our natural immunity can be augmented. And basically, the people those who are leading very disciplined life, have a healthy life, they have got a better immune system, which can fight various diseases whenever they get it. So that is what exactly happening in this COVID crisis also. Though it is not like that young people cannot get, young people are also getting it, but they are able to fight. And that is why almost more than 80% of people, those who are less than 50 years age, they get very mild disease, or some of them are really asymptomatic, not only the beginning, but they remain asymptomatic throughout the period of 14 days or so. So that we know actually. And it is only the people, those who are older or those who are having pre-existing disease, like which you have narrated already, they are the people, their mortality rate is slightly much more than, that is why we are bothered about that. The rate of mortality is varying from 5 to 15% in that population. It's a very big this thing. And Manjari, I would like to differ with you that we are not having any stress on, say, infectious diseases. In fact, last century and last half century, we have spent only in dealing with communicable diseases, and we have more or less won them. These virus diseases and mutated virus diseases that will continue to come today. Corona is novel corona. Sometimes there will be another corona or some other virus. But our real challenge now, the country is facing, the world is facing non-communicable disease. This is a new disease which we may be able to overcome. But maybe this year we will overcome this coronavirus, novel coronavirus. Next year, some other virus will be there. They will continue to give us. They continue to give us challenge actually. But our challenge is non-communicable diseases, and for non-communicable diseases, that yoga, good health, good sleep, stressless life, they are going to play a role. And to anyway, even to fight this infection to some extent, they can enhance, and all these methods can enhance immunity. But I think certainly this has got to play much more role in keeping us fit and fight non-communicable disease. That is as far as immunity is concerned. You want to ask more about COVID disease, then you can ask. I cannot listen to you.
Of course, thank you so much, Dr. Rana. Of course, you were talking about the fact that immunity is of two types. One is the innate that we are born with, and the other is the acquired adaptive immunity. As we face more and more pathogens, we develop antibodies against them, which is like a memory cell that we keep, and that's how we acquire immunity over the years as we grow. I think one more thing that I want to request you to clarify to everybody here is about how specifically the prognosis of COVID-19 is, because there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of panic in people's mind about how the disease progresses. So if you could summarize that briefly for us, that would be very helpful.
Firstly, let me tell you that right now, not very dynamic situation, very dynamic disease. Every morning and in the evening, we are getting new information as far as medicine is also concerned. But by and large, from all the countries, it is well known, as you rightly pointed out, that many patients are asymptomatic to the tune of 70% in our country, 70 to 75%. And majority patients really do not require hospitalization, for which patients are right now going out of fear and spending money unnecessarily in the hospitals and using the hospital infrastructure. So I feel that the people, those who do not have any symptoms, they should be as high possible. They should be isolated at home only, and there are definite guidelines for home isolation. They should be under the guidance of their personal doctor or under guidance of some hospital, so that as and when required, they can be admitted in the hospital. Out of 100 patients, whatever data we have got, and or every day television is showing to you that in our country at least, it is only last 20% people, those who really require hospitalization. And out of that also, 15% patient show smooth recovery within 10 days or 15 days. Only, and they may require respiratory support, but very mild respiratory support. It is unfortunately about 5% people, they require artificial, those who got very severe pneumonia and systemic disease like heart disease or kidney failure and all those things. They are the unfortunate people, and their mortality, overall mortality, is around about 2 to 3%. But if you take very young people, then it's hardly 0.5%. While for older people, it can be 50, right now around almost 50 to 20%, depending on what sort of underlying condition they are having. And this range, like mortality between 70 to 80 years age is about 10%. But it goes to 50% once somebody is much more than, or say 80 years. And if they are having pre-existing disease like cardiac disease, diabetes, hypertension, liver failure, kidney failure, all those things, they increase the risk of death. So that in a country like ours, even if the mortality rate is that sort of, is very alarming. And that is why the Prime Minister or the health authorities have instilled, I can say, exaggerated fear in the people, that people are too much afraid, and that was really required. But gradually, we have to learn how to live with this coronavirus. And that is all the time we are teaching on television that your respiratory hygiene, personal hygiene, and keeping distance, they are the only answer for everybody. And right now, since India, about 70 to 75% patient asymptomatic, then we almost, when we are walking now and almost going to work in many part of the world country, there we follow those norms. We almost take it that everyone facing us is positive, so that protect yourself and protect him also. So we are protecting each other. That should be the principle. So we don't have to afraid, but at the same time, we do keep in mind that there is increased unacceptable mortality in older age, and we have to protect them. Okay. Yes, Dr. Manjari, fine.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rana. Thank you for all the information. I think it'll be very helpful for everyone. Going forward, I now request Dr. Mohammed Majeed. Dr. Majeed is the chairman of SAMI Sabinsa Group. Dr. Mohammed Majeed is, of course, a very well-known industrialist. He has an experience of the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and cosmetic industry for more than 45 years. I invite Dr. Majeed to give an address on the webinar now. Over to you, Dr. Mohammed Majeed, please.
Thank you, Manjari. First of all, I want to congratulate Assocham, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, for a brilliant initiative they have done in doing this. And thank you for making us part of this one. Now, Corona is going to be there. It is not going to leave us in the near future. At least that's what I think. It will be there. Like Dr. Rana said, we have to live with it and we have to then overcome it. And we will do that. Initially, we thought weather changes will change it. Nothing will change it. It is going to be with us. A vaccine may be there in 1 year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years. We never know. But we are hoping for the best. Today, the biggest support we have is the guideline given by the government of India. Keep the social distancing, wear the mask, sanitization and all those things. So that we will continue to do. Going forward, we need to look at several natural products, which my group, along with the many others in this country, are developing. And in fact, one of the products we developed on market today, there was an article published in Phytotherapy. It is specifically addressing that particular product will be a prevention for COVID-19. Okay. We are also looking at many of our natural products, something we never did before. Just for your information who are not familiar with this, we develop a lot of natural molecules from natural products. All of them are in Ayurveda. But many a times we looked at whether it is good for diabetes, heart diseases, or weight loss and things like that. Now we have a different focus. COVID-19 brought that to us, which is how many of these are antivirals? And we are looking at that aspects. We have initiated some work with docking studies, some in vitro, in vivo, and in this respect, we are looking for people outside there. Viral research is not something within our capability now, but we are trying to add that one. But we will do that. But we are looking for partners or associates who can work with us. Now, there are two people in my team who are making some brilliant presentation. Manjari, if I have any time left, give it to them because they both have two presentations. Again, I want to thank all of you and especially Assocham for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Majeed. Thank you very much for your address. We will now, thank you, Dr. Rana and Dr. Majeed. We'll now request Dr. Blossom Kocher. Dr. Blossom Kocher is with us. Dr. Blossom Kocher is, of course, the co-chairman chairperson for Assocham National Wellness Council. And she's also the chairperson of Blossom Kocher Group of Companies, a very well-known name in various fields in the wellness sector. Dr. Kocher has many awards to her credit. I now invite Dr. Blossom Kocher to give her special address on the webinar today.
So thank you so much, Doctor. And I would like to, Dr. Niranjan Hirandani. I loved your talk, and also Dr. Rana and Dr. Mohammed Majeed. In fact, yeah, I love to listen to all of you, and it was wonderful. Now I am a doctor in a different field, of course, alternative therapy, and my specialty is aromatherapy, that is dealing with essential oils. Now, like we all know, our subcontinent is blessed with the world's richest resources of aromatic plants. India comprises its botanical wealth is about 45,000 plant species in 18,500 flowering essential oil bearing plants. Okay, and these are a complex mixture of naturally occurring odoriferous compounds that exist in the form of oil glands. They are in the flowers, leaves, woods, spices, sacs, and trees. And I know a lot of them have been used. Chemically, essential oils are hydrocarbons, okay, and oxygenated hydrocarbons, which can be grouped into terpenes, esters, alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, phenols, etc. In other words, essential oils are volatile extracts of plants used in they are used in perfumes because they are essential oils. Now, how does aromatherapy work? Aromatherapy, of course, works through our sense of smell, and you will find it also, the molecule of these essential oils are so fine that they also penetrate into the skin. Now, some of these oils have antiviral and antibacterial properties, and anti-inflammatory, antiviral. Now, we have taken these few antiviral oils which are very, very strong. Like one is tea tree. Tea tree is an oil which they have found that is 5 times stronger than phenol. And when I was speaking to the American doctors and the Indian Doctors Association also in America, they found they would like to use that in their hospitals along, so that the patients will not get such a, they won't get that phenol smell. So they have been using that. Now tea tree is there. The other one is lavender. Now, lavender is another oil which we use a lot. It's antiviral. And of course, apart from that, it had other properties also. And we use tea tree, lavender, eucalyptus. In this COVID thing, I find eucalyptus helps a lot. Now, we all have to, of course, look after our immune system. And I'm talking about looking after the immune system, not treating the disease. Okay. So eucalyptus is one of these oils, which is fantastic. It is 3.5 times as stronger than phenol. It is a very, very strong antiviral and antibacterial oil. And of course, it helps the chest and the throat, as we all know. So there's eucalyptus. The other is, of course, basil, which we all know, the Krishna Tulsi. So these are 4 of the oils that we use right now to build a person's immune system. And it really works. Like, we use it, of course, these drops are taken, the drops are taken in water. You can take about 5 to 10 drops in a little water, and that helps your immune system. The other things is you don't need to take in any of these oils. You can just disinfect the air with them. So we use it in diffusers. We use it in our bath water, which, because it is so fine, this molecule, it helps. And the main thing, it helps your mind. And we all know that stress is one of the most important factors that makes our immune system go down. And so this helps your distress. This helps anxiety. And anxiety is another problem that really wreaks havoc with all of us. So this is another thing that helps your stress. It helps your immune system. So we have been using these oils very regularly. And of course, apart from that, I have been taking a lot of Ayurvedic, and aromatherapy is a part of the Vedas. It is actually it is a part of the Vedas. You will find when you look to the Vedas, we have about 8 Vedas. Now the 7th one, which is called the Rasayana, the Veda of genetics and the Veda of rejuvenation. You will find there we were using all through, we use aromatherapy. And in fact, it's been used right through the ages. And how does it affect? Like, just for example, you go into a temple, we are so stressed, okay? This is one thing. You will straight away find that you can relax. Now, why do you relax? Because of the smell of sandalwood. The smell makes you relax. It works on your mind. Also, you will find that when we have these people of depression, we give them just jasmine. Just the smell of jasmine gives them confidence and it helps their depression. So it works on the mind, it works on the body, because they have these antiviral properties, and it works in the air. You can use it in your diffusers, you can use it in your AC duct, which they were using a lot all over in the hospitals and in other places in the waiting rooms, so that it helps the client. And it definitely helps right now, this thing. And of course, like I was telling you, apart from that, in the Ayurveda, turmeric is one fantastic thing, which I know. I'll tell you what I take. Turmeric, ashwagandha is really very, very good. And it's wonderful to take at this time. It helps the immunity. So these ginger, of course, is there, but these two are very good. And also Brahmi, which helps a lot. So these are the Ayurvedic and aromatherapy, which I have been using, and I find it helps a great deal. Of course, it is just complementary and it helps your stress level. And of course, we'll also have to take in the others, and I hope they find a vaccine soon for the COVID thing. But like Mr. Mohammed was saying, I think it will take a long time and we'll have to live with it. So we really have to keep ourselves boosted. And of course, the yoga, the exercise, you're following your system with proper diet, like all of you have said. It is so wonderful. And I think we'll all have to follow this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blossom. That was a very different and a very unique take. And thank you. I mean, we know a little bit about the effect of oils, but there's a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of research and scientific backing to them also. So I think all of us would also like to, yeah, we'll all want to know more about that. Yeah. And thank you for the address. I will now introduce Dr. Naren Tripathi. Dr. Naren Tripathi is the General Manager, Quality Assurance for Tirupati Wellness. And Dr. Naren Tripathi is basically an environmental scientist, and he has various types of experience, even in food safety, regulatory compliance. He's been with various FMCG in heads of quality in various FMCG sectors and organizations. I now hand over to Dr. Naren Tripathi, who will be talking to us about boosting immunity and about safeguarding our immunity. Over to you, Dr. Tripathi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mandri. Thank you, Dr. Anna. Thank you, Dr. Kochar. Basically, we have a small and a very short kind of the presentation. Would like to go through the basically lifestyle model. Most of the things have been briefed and it is covered also in very good startup of the Dr. Hiranandani. And basically, we have selected as we working with associated with the factory and food processing operations. So we have to keep ready our associates as well. They are also working as just like a corona warriors. So we have to keep them ready, and we have to, boosting their morale. So I am to whatever the basically single kind of the short kind of the tips we have incorporated some 12 tips, but we are trying to give them. There are that is the basically use of vitamin C. We are enhancing them. We are encouraging them to use as much as vitamin C because of the it helps us to enhance the immunity as well as to got the no stress duty reduction because. So that we can start up the basically they can get relief, they can sleep like whatever the 8 hours sleep, 8 hour duties, it is not to be converted or extended like the 10 hours or 12 hours. So that their sleep and their rest also boosting them to involve, to revoke their immunity level. And whatever we are suggesting curcumin them basically curcumin is this we are using in daily life as well as from we are consuming in food like dal, chow, sabji. It is a part of every part of the we can say part of the food. Even though we are emphasizing them to take along with the milk at the night time, and to reduce the stress also, we are so that to do the meditation, to do the yoga, to keep them relaxed, don't have any kind of stress or tension. Your job will remain secure. It is a need of the time. Suppose if plant is not running as earlier, it was running for the 24 hours or continuously Sunday, Monday, holiday. So if this kind of the stress is not to be taken on their, on their mental stress is to be avoided as well as the physical stress. And drinking of more water is the facility. However, there are the numbers of the tips we are getting. We have to take hot water. But what about in the summer when the temperature is even in the Himachal Pradesh, it is touching around 41, 40, 43 degrees Celsius. And if we talk about Delhi, it is going 47.8 up around 48 degrees Celsius. So in that moment to take the hot water, like the frequently getting difficult. So early but we are early morning and whenever it possible at home, we are also basically educating them to take it. And then again, like yoga and this meditation, what happening basically, some of our colleagues are suppose they are moving somewhere extra zone because of the lockdown. They are getting the quarantine depending on the government policy, state policy. Someone is getting the quarantine for 28 days, someone getting quarantine for 14 days. So it becomes essential. And after the lockdown, so longer lockdown, it becomes essential to keep them fit. So we are also we have our some yoga expert. We are boosting them to keep them fit to the yogas, meditation, or like like Kapalbhati or like pranayam kind of activities and physical activities, whatever is possible inside the room, not at the outside. And since we have to adhere with the like we can say the regulate government guidelines, and take the healthy food, much vegetables part basically, and keep away from for we can say 4 chamche 4C like we can say chapati, reduce chapati, chini, chawal, and we can say chapati, chini, chawal, and one more. Um, I'm getting 4C. I'm forgetting. We have to reduce. We have to basically purpose is this like to reduce to enhance the more vegetables in their food and their diet, and vital vitamins. This because whatever we can support from here from our side, we are in the manufacturing of the like multivitamins and multi nutraceutical based companies. So we are also producing them, and garlic powder also, and omega 3, it is very good, it's too easy to have through the flax seeds and herbal for immunity. We are also in house, we have developed a kadha at our level with the combination whatever they use as suggested to us, and we are distributing to them to have to replacing the tea to use kadha frequently. And sanitization is the very frequently is a new tools like from entry to even then everybody has been given to that the pocket kind of the 60 ml 70 ml kind of the pocket and sanitizer, so that they can sanitize and they can after every activity they can sanitize their hand, they can go there. So basically whatever these 12 points we are focusing, and it is we are focusing in the clusters so that we can educate more to the peoples, we can move to our associates, we can educate to the workers who have their limited resources, limited knowledge, and since we this adverse impact is very crucial for us, and these are the points from my side, and we can these has been elaborated. The 12 points have been elaborated. Only the highlights have been given in the slides, and by we think that by keeping the precautions, we can avoid, we can safeguard ourselves from the coronavirus. And as Dr. Rana said very well that it will be here with us. So we have to changes our lifestyle significantly, and we have to opt our safeguarding. We have to develop our mechanisms, and the mechanisms might be possible very person to person, but whatever is the best way to save ourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Manjari.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Tripathi. Thank you for taking us through the various things that we can do to boost our immunity. We have two more speakers who will now be speaking to us. Both of them are from the SAMI labs, and they are very senior researchers. The first address or the first presentation will be by Dr. Sarang Bani. Dr. Sarang Bani is the senior advisor for biological research and development at SAMI Labs Limited. I request Dr. Sarang Bani to now take us through his presentation.
Good evening. It's great to be here, and I hope you can see the presentation. I have just put it on, and I personally feel that it's an opportunity for me to speak at Assocham, and I'm grateful to the organizers and to Dr. Majeed for giving me this opportunity to speak here at this stage. The world is currently battling to overcome coronavirus. Not only India, but the entire countries on this globe are fighting for survival against this highly infectious virus that can impact anybody at any time. The virus has ravaged the countries around the globe and has brought economy and the living standards to its knees. We still do not know how the virus will play out in future. There are different combinations of drugs being tried up. There are different things being talked about. And all these things are just being said by different scientists, by different doctors, but nobody is very clear at this stage, though we feel that in a couple of months, the things would become more clearer. There are being talks.
Sorry for disturbing you in between. Yeah. We can't see your presentation. Can you please...
Okay, now you can see? Can you see now,
yes,
please?
Sir. Can you please make it a full screen?
Yeah.
Slideshow.
Full screen, yeah. How to do it? Just
on the right hand side. On the right hand side. A bit right. A bit right. Yeah, this one.
Got it now?
Yeah.
Should I move on?
Yes, Dr. Sarang, we can see your presentation now. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was saying that we still do not know how the things would be clearer in some time from now. But at this stage, there are combinations we are doing error stage. And apart from that, we also see that people are talking about different vaccines being tried, but vaccines will take some time to come. And that too, there are other stories that the virus mutates. And if it mutates, then vaccine cannot be effective in all the cases. So this is a long fight, and probably we have to live with this. And instead of having a fear psychosis about the virus, we need to have strength within us to fight this problem and be fearless, because fear will always, and it's always known that humanity has always survived by being fearless. Fear never lets humanity move on, and we need to move on. We also know that people who recover can still carry this virus in the dormant state in their lungs. And they are in China, we see that there's some reoccurrence of the diseases happening to the people who had reported to be negative, showing that this virus can make a person hollow from inside, can weaken the immune system to the extent that person starts feeling incomplete with the disease. Immunity becomes more important. It was always there, it was always required, but now we see that immunity has become, sorry, I have changed it. Yes. That immunity is the state of having sufficient biological defenses, and these biological defenses are attacked by all kind of opportunistic infections. And lately we are only talking about coronavirus, but then there are many of them, and who knows how many of them are still to come. So we need to have our defenses ready so that we can take care of the immune system and be free from all the kind of diseases. We also know that while in this presence, there was a speaker who said that nowadays the only word that is being looked up at Google is on immune system and immunity. We know it was always there, but certainly we should thank this virus that it has brought immunity to the core, and we have realized that most of the lifestyle disorders and other diseases and diseases that can kill us only happen when our immune system either goes haywire or becomes very weak in its approach to defend and to safeguard us from all those diseases. So in this COVID-19 scenario, it has changed our lifestyle, travel, everything, and it also underlines the pressing need to watch our steps once it comes to immunity. There is no other approach. We need to strengthen our immunity, and that is how we can move on. Just there, a paradigm shift is required. We need to be preventive so that our health improves, and instead of therapeutic things, we need to have anticipatory disease prevention in our mind. And that prevention can only happen when we use certain products that nature has provided to us, and that can quickly boost our immune system to keep it fighting fit, to keep us fighting fit, to keep us healthy, to keep us raring to go, and to keep us away from all kind of negativity and things that also we realize that we say that work from home. We are always telling people to work from home. We don't realize that working at a single place, staying at home may protect us from the virus, but it won't protect us from the stress that will build up in our mind. And that stress will help in the release of cortisol in our body. And that cortisol shuts down the immune system. It is more like an immunosuppressive agent. And cortisol is an immunosuppressive agent which is naturally produced by the body to safeguard under stress. So stress thrills but would eventually kill. Apart from stress, we also know that being under constant fear also releases certain hormones and blocks certain other hormones in our body, and we just become a body that does not have full soul in it. That is not a correct thing to do for a society, for a humanity as a whole. So research and development in the area of natural products is more than 3,000 years old through Ayurveda. But Ayurveda had the concepts. They had the brain to find out the concepts which are too logical till date. We are only researching what they searched. It is research. We are researching what they already know, what they already knew and what they already told us. And we are trying to find out the logics, because now science is technology. Science is also what data shows us. Science is logic. That logic is required. Gone are the days when we used to have our concepts sitting under the tree. Now concepts are through technology where computers take over so that human error can be minimized. So that makes us to move for products that are plant-based. Each plant has got so many molecules, and each molecule has its own biological value. And we know, as per WHO, only about 5 to 7% flora present on this globe have been identified. Out of those, how much more we can do? We do have everything that nature has provided to us to cure the diseases that we create or our own modernization has created by playing with nature. So keeping that in mind, we need to move from therapeutic effects to preventive effect by going to the natural products, nutraceuticals that also gives us nutrition and also provide us with therapeutic benefit, preventive benefit. Health, immune system should be healthy because that gives us health in the overall physiology of our body. Our journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Our research laboratories at SAMI Savinsa Group, SAMI Labs, has just one direction, that we have to work from design to delivery. All our different departments, which comprise of formulations, which comprise of biological research, which comprises of chemistry, phytochemistry, all work in synergism. They all work together on a single product to see different aspects of that product, because science cannot work in isolation. It has to be together. It has to be complete. And that is what the vision of SEMI labs is. And we work rigorously on nutrients. And it's not that all of our nutrients go through, some of them we drop. You can understand for a single success, we need to face 3 or 4 failures. It cannot, failures we don't give us value, but the success does. And we are determined to succeed. And Ayurveda and the traditional medical system has given us certain things that we have the startups already. We only need to grow over it and find out something that will be beneficial. So the way forward, this is the way forward, that we do not have to be defensive. We need to be aggressive and look at the possibilities of producing a product that can selectively or that can be tailored to develop our immune system in a way that we can ward off the threat perception of all these viruses that would come, that are there, that will be coming day in and day out. And lastly, I would say that for a house, we should have a door that is fit enough so that if we keep the door of our house or of the gate of our organization open, anybody can enter there. We need to have a strong gate. And immune system is the gate of our body. If we take care of our immune system, we take care of our body. And we should take care of our body defenses, because that our body is the only place where we will be living, and that is not replaceable, not otherwise. We cannot change it also. Thank you so much. My colleague would take up the different leads that we have, the different things that we are doing. And thank you so much. Dr. Manjari, I have finished off.
I think there's a little problem. That's okay. Yes, Dr. Saran. Yes, thank you so much. That was a detailed presentation, and I'm sure you're making amazing products, and the type of research that you're doing at sorry?
There was some lag in the beginning due to our this.
You're not that audible, Dr. Saran, but yes, initially. But we were able to follow through your presentation and get your message, so that's important. Thank you very much. And that was quite a detailed one. We also have Dr. Lakshmi with us. Dr. Lakshmi is the Vice President for Biological Research and Development at SAMI Labs. Dr. Lakshmi will also be presenting her view on immunity. Having said that, I just wanted to put it in context that we have around another 10 minutes or to wind up your presentation, Dr. Lakshmi. So I would very humbly request you to try and stick to the next 10 minutes and try and squeeze the presentation in that, Dr. Lakshmi. Over to you, Dr. Lakshmi.
Can you see my presentation? Hello? Can you hear me?
Not as yet. No.
Ma'am, we can see your presentation. Can you please make it a full screen?
We can hear you, though it's like.
Ma'am, slideshow. Yeah. Ma'am, kindly click on the slideshow.
Here?
This next one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. Perfect, ma'am. Over to you.
So can you hear me now? Yeah. Thank
Yes,
you so much, Dr. Manjari, for the kind introduction. And thank you, Assocham, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Now, I'll go through the immune system and how the nutraceuticals and the natural defense systems help ourselves to fight infection. So, the immune system, as you all know, is one of the most intricate system in our body, and it works through the cells and the cytokines or the soluble factors, which is more like the security force which guard our country, like the immune system guards ourselves. So anything that comes foreign particle is being taken up by the immune system, fights, and then we are healthy. Now, how do you maintain a healthy immune system? You need to have proper diet, proper supplements, and of course the lifestyle changes, which all of you have talked about earlier. So the diet and supplements include the antioxidants, the micronutrients, and having a balanced nutrition, while lifestyle changes requires an adequate sleep, stress, lowering your stress, and exercise, which we have already talked about. Now, traditional medicinal herbs and phytonutrients definitely help us get this diet and supplements in our system to boost your immune system. So, what is healthy? What is a healthy immune response? Is not just boosting your immune response, but keeping it balanced. Every step of your immune response, that is a balancing act. So that the immune system doesn't go vary. It controls itself, and then the inflammation is controlled, and then the immune system comes back to its homeostasis. So, what we require now is an immunological balance which strengthens the immune system and strengthens the immune defense mechanism. Now, the natural products that we talk about, that can be minerals like selenium and zinc. We have antioxidants, which are vitamins and phytonutrients. And then we have plant-based extracts, which have antiviral activities, immunomodulatory activities. And we also have these probiotics and prebiotics, which help the gut to be normal. And normalizing the gut actually improves your immunity. So I'll go through some of these products quickly. Some of them have already been talked about, but some of them I'll try to tell you how these products can be used. Now, selenium is one of the most important micronutrient for antiviral activities. Now, like it was also found that selenium supplementation can enhance the lymphocyte activity. It augments your immune response. And healthy selenium is beneficial for inhibiting the spread of viruses, and in fact it helps you remain healthy and controls your inflammation. Now, next micronutrient which comes into the mind is zinc. Zinc is a trace element, but increasing intracellular zinc concentration is reported to prevent the viral replication. In fact, the hydroxychloroquine, which is being used for COVID treatment, now, it is shown that when you use it along with zinc, it interferes with the RNA polymerase activity, and it prevents the coronavirus replication. So, there is a paper which talks about this. This paper came back way back in the last pathogen this was published, but now it has been re-proven that zinc chloride along with hydroxychloroquine is much better than giving hydroxychloroquine alone. Now, coming to vitamins, we have already heard about vitamins, but I would like to specifically stress on vitamin D, where it improves the synthesis of antimicrobial peptides, and there is a strong correlation which has been observed in the coronavirus pandemic, that deficiency in vitamin D gives rise to greater mortality rates. So this has been a finding which has come up in the last 3-4 months. So vitamin D is one of the major vitamin that you should be taking during this time. When we talk about curcuma longa or our curcumin or the turmeric that we all know about, the major component here is the curcuminoids, which is an antioxidant and is also an anti-inflammatory agent. Now, people have been talking about curcumin, but what we know is curcumin can actually be an antiviral agent, and it can prevent the acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is being faced by many of the coronavirus patients at the end stage disease. So it prevents the cytokine storm or overproduction of cytokines, which happens at the end stage. And that way, curcumin could be very important during this time. And in fact, we have a recent paper which has been co-authored by Dr. Majeed, and it talks about the potential effects of curcumin in the treatment of COVID-19 infection. And that came about in the phytotherapy research in 2020. And this paper talks a lot, gives you an overview about the use of curcumin in coronavirus. Now, the second product that we are talking about is Nigella or the black seed. The black seed is commonly used in the treatment of several health diseases, and in fact, it has been used very widely in asthma and bronchial diseases. And the thymoquinone, which is present in the oil, enhances antibody response and increases the phagocytic activity, and it is also an antioxidant. So putting together all these activities, the thymoquinone probably could be a very good agent when you talk about the viral infection and boosting your immune system. Now, we heard about Withania somnifera or ashwagandha earlier also from Dr. Kochar. Now, ashwagandha has been used for centuries in India as an adaptogen which is to build resistance to stress and disease. The major active molecule that is involved in these activities are the withanolides, the withanosides, and the withaferin A. Now, withanolide A has been found to augment the T lymphocyte activity. T lymphocytes are one of the lymphocytes which attack the virus, and this withanolide has been found to augment the activity of this particular lymphocyte, which is part of our immune system, and suggesting that it has immunostimulatory activities. Now, recently, the IIT Delhi and in collaboration with Advanced Industrial Science and Technology Japan, they reported that a component from Withania, known as withanol, could block viral COVID-19 viral replication protein. So this was done by a docking study using structural physics. But then this shows the potential of the natural products in preventing the viral replication or being an antiviral compound. Now, this is a very great initiative, though withanol is present in very low concentration in Withania. So, but then we have hundreds of more compounds present in this particular plant, which are the other withanolides and the withaferin A, which could also have similar activities which need to be explored further. Now, this is another plant which is very well known in the southern part of the India, and the andrographis has been used for centuries for the management of infection. And the whole thought process is that andrographis can strengthen your immune function. Now, this has been shown to have antiviral activity, anti-allergic activity, and immunostimulatory activities, and it has been shown to increase your antibody production. So antibodies, of course, are very important for fighting the virus, and andrographis could have this kind of activities to protect you from the viral infection. Now, again, andrographolides, which is one of the important molecules from this, was shown to inhibit the viral protease in silico studies. So all these results, they just show that the potential of the natural compounds in interacting with the different viral proteins, and then how we can use these compounds to actually for the benefit of mankind, that now that we know that these can be active against the virus. Now, licorice or mulethi, again, we've been using it to soothe the respiratory system for a very long time, and we use it to get relief from cough, cold, asthma, and respiratory diseases. The main component is an anti-allergic compound. It reduces your inflammation. What is IgE-mediated inflammation, which happens only during the cases of allergic asthma or cold. Now, multiple studies have demonstrated that in fact, it relieves your bronchial constrictions, and it's very good when you take it for cold. Now, glycyrrhizin was also demonstrated to prevent the replication of coronaviruses in vitro, like when the coronaviral epidemic broke out in 2010. And that time, glycyrrhizin was evaluated, and they found that it actually could prevent the coronaviral infection in vitro in cell lines. Now, a recent molecular study, also shows that this molecule is having the capacity to bind to the ACE2 protein, which is the entry point for the coronavirus COVID-19 or the COVID-2. Now, all these things put together put this particular plant in a very important or a limelight, because this is one of the plant which is going to probably help us a lot in fighting against the pandemic now. Now, Tulsi, as we all know, we've been using it as an adaptogen, and Tulsi has a lot of useful compounds. One of them is ursolic acid, which is having immune enhancing and antiviral activity. And essential oils, like Dr. Kochar earlier talked about, like eugenol, which is present in the leaves, again has antiviral, and it can soothe your mind and probably relieve you of stress, which again enhances your immune system. Now, so all these points about tulsi can also be one of the plant which can be used for to explode further for the management of COVID. Now, finally, I talk about ginger or the ginger. Ginger extract is a very good antioxidant, and it prevents oxidative stress. And when you have a viral infection, there is an oxidative stress which builds up in your lungs, and that needs to be relieved. So that's why you need an antioxidant. So gingerols and shogals, these are the two phytochemicals which are present in ginger. They were shown they have a bronchorelaxant property. So when you have congestion, you need to relax your bronchial cells. Now they also have smooth. They also suppress the phosphodiesterase 4, which is an enzyme which causes which is involved in allergic asthma, and it is also known to reduce the symptoms, the final stage symptoms of acute respiratory distress. So putting these together, ginger is another important plant to be looked into. Now, the probiotics, which I think no one has touched upon earlier, the gut microbiome, as we've been hearing about gut microbiome recently quite a bit in relation to gut and the brain, gut and the cardiovascular, the gut kind of relates to all other parts of your body. Now, gut microbiome plays a very important role in immune homeostasis. So, this gut microbiome, like when you take dietary probiotics or the good bacteria which goes into your gut, it improves your immune system by interacting with the gut mucosa and the mucosal immune system. And mucosal immune system is very, very important because that is where we keep eating so many things. Everything goes into our gut. And how does the gut realize that this is required and this is not required? And that's because of the mucosal immune system. And that is strong. And when your gut bacteria are good, then that improves your immune system or the systemic immune system. So probiotics they mediate an antiviral effect by enhancing immunity in the airways by increasing the activity of natural killer cells and macrophages. These are two important cells which are the first line defense against any viral attack. Now, to prove this point, a systematic review of 23 trials involving so many children concluded that probiotics could decrease the incidence of respiratory infections in children. So, keeping your gut happy is also very important. Now, some of the products that we have, and then what I want to conclude by saying health is not the absence of germs or toxins or any virus or bacteria in the system. It's how well your body responds to the bacteria or the germs. A robust immunity is equal to a sturdy health. So thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lakshmi. That was very detailed and very, very helpful and knowledgeable. And I'm sure there's much more that all of us would want to know. I mean, I do functional nutrition, and we're constantly talking about micronutrients and herbs and supplements. But of course, we're not so backed by research. We get the information from researchers like you who've been doing so much of scientific research around these components. So thank you so much. Some of them were very, very interesting, like the bit about vitamin D. Of course, we know the direct correlation of vitamin D with every form of cardiometabolic health. But recently, the importance of vitamin D in immunity has been highlighted, and that's something that people have really, and with more being homebound and logged in, we've even, I think, reduced our vitamin D levels. So even more a good idea to look at our vitamin D levels and supplement them if required. I think generally through the webinar, we've had very, very good learnings. I thank all my panelists. I start with thanking Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani for taking out time from his extremely busy schedule and joining us for this and for his, his presence, his wise words, and his wisdom. I also thank Dr. Mohd Majeed for being a part of this, and for SAMI Labs being always proactive with the type of research and the type of work that you're doing, especially with Indian herbs and Ayurveda. That's very, very important. As as Sari correctly said, I think Dr. Sarang correctly said that it's all research. It has already been searched by Ayurveda. We are just finding it again. We are researching it again. I thank Dr. Rana for joining us in the webinar. Dr. Rana, of course, we know has been, is also a very, very senior physician, very, very senior clinician, and his information, I think, has been, there are a lot of questions, of course, that we'll go to them. Thank you, Dr. Kocher, for giving that very interesting bit on aromatherapy and how we know a little bit about it. I think there's much more all of us would want to know about all the topics that are being discussed today. I wish I'd done something on nutrition, because we somehow missed out on nutrition today in the webinar. But maybe next time we'll do that also. Thank you, Dr. Tripathi, for joining us and for giving us your share of the knowledge. And of course, the two very senior researchers, Dr. Sarang and Dr. Lakshmi, for a very in-depth presentation on immunity. I would just like to add a couple of things here. As all of us are going through the webinar today, Dr. Lakshmi spoke about gut health. In fact, if you had to literally break down immunity into percentages, around 70% or more of our immunity lies in our gut. And the gut microflora and gut microbiome are so very important. It's very important to give it the right food, to feed the right bacteria and the right type of microorganisms, and also to stop eating foods which sort of allow the wrong microbiome to grow. And that is why foods which are inflammatory, things which cause inflammation or cause the microbiome to go for a 6, I think that's something that is extremely important. Gut health is a very, very direct correlation with immunity. 70% or more of our immunity is there, and whether it's the T cell, B cell function, whether it is the cytokine storm that you spoke about, whether it is the, even some part of the innate immunity is a function of the gut. So I think gut, again, we've not had enough focus as medicine. Also, we've not focused enough on our gut. We've just I was actually looking at the type of tests available to check our gut, and I was surprised, and I checked up with a lot of labs, and I realized that very few gut tests are available. Very few people are actually checking their gut health, and things like a small intestinal bacterial overload, like a zonulin test, tests to check the type of methane and hydrogen being produced by the organisms living in the gut, are very, very faint and few. Very few people do that type of testing also. So I think gut will become micronutrients and herbs. You pointed to many, many plants, from curcumin to ashwagandha. All of it are very, very relevant. I think over the time we'll go back to our traces and our roots, and once it is put more scientifically and with more research backing it, then it's even easier for people to accept it and use it in the right perspective. Thank you very much, everybody. There are a few questions that people have asked. So I'm going to take a few questions now and request all of you to answer the relevant questions. There is a question from a lady. She's asking that compromised immunity is usually an end result of urban lifestyle. So how do you control your urban lifestyle, and how do you in the urban setting manage your lifestyle so that you can boost your immunity? So I'd request Dr. Rana to probably answer that question, if it is okay.
No, urban living leads to more stress, and many of you stress that stress can lead to decreased immunity. So I think the most important, again, that comes to that take proper diet, take proper sleep, and do exercise and yoga. That should take care of. You must distress yourself enough, and you must learn to be that thing with union with yourself, with others, and with everything living in the world. So once you have that sort of life, then you can live anywhere, whether you are living in village or city. There is no problem. Problem that urban life is putting a lot of stress. So दिल मांगे more.
Yeah. So with the constant, requirement and the constant urge to attain more and do more, we are in a constant state of, the parasympathetic, sympathetic concept of constantly keeping our sympathetic system working and being in a constant
You're all the
state
time,
of stress.
you're all the time keeping your sympathetic system under stress.
Yes,
So
yes.
there
And,
is a
and causing all the
because
wrong hormones. Yes, yes, Dr. Rana. So very wisely put, just, modifying lifestyle could be a great way. So even in the put in the concepts of de-stressing, yoga, meditation, the right type of schedules, I think a lot of it can be taken care of. There's which talks about, there is a question which says that how does the CRISPR Cas9 help in dealing with COVID-19? So how does this actually help in COVID-19, and how can we respond to that sort of reaction to COVID-19 with the CRISPR Cas9? And if I could request Dr. Majeed, is Dr. Majeed with us? Dr. Majeed? No problem. So no problem. I'll take that question later. I'm going to get another question now. So somebody has asked that what is the dose for Nigella seeds? Is it the same as Kalonji? Is the dose for Nigella seeds the same as Kalonji? And I'd request Dr. Lakshmi to answer that question.
Yes, it is. You are muted. You are muted. Lakshmi, you are muted.
Unmute karo Lakshmi.
To unmute me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nigella is the same as Kalonji, which is used very. We use it in our regular cuisine. So Nigella seeds and Kalonji are the same.
Dosage can we look at if we had to consume the seeds, for building up immunity generally? Would you recommend that?
About a gram ground up.
Okay, fine.
In one way or
There's
other,
Yeah, there's another question there, which is about tea tree oil. Madam, can you please give more information about tea tree oil? So, if Dr. Sarang or Dr. Lakshmi, whoever would like to answer this question on tea tree oil, I'd request you to please answer.
Tea tree oil comes from Australia. It doesn't grow in India. Okay, it grows in Australia, and it is an oil which is very, very antiseptic and antiviral, and it's got 5 times stronger than phenol. You can use it even if you cut. This is one oil you can use straight. You do not need to mix it with another oil. Otherwise, every other essential oil is very potent. So we'll have to mix it with another vegetable oil or with water. But here you can use it straight, and it's used for cuts. It's used for any kind, and it's used for cleansing. If you want to clean your surfaces, if you want to clean the floors, anything like that, your phones, it's very, very antiseptic. So that's how we use a lot of tea tree oil.
Anjali, if I may add to that one.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Majeed.
If I may add to that one.
Please.
Dr. Blossom, there is a very powerful and equally important item from South India. It is called coleus oil. As good or better than tea tree oil. Maybe I should send you a sample of that one. Very nice smelling.
Yeah, please do.
That
I love to.
You will get it. You will get the sample.
Thank you for adding on, Dr. Majeed. In fact, I have one question for Dr. Majeed. So there's a question that what is the role of C3 complex in combating the coronavirus? If Dr. Majeed could please enlighten us on that.
Yeah. There are various steps of the coronavirus where curcumin can interfere. In fact, the paper just came out 2 days back. Okay, it prevents the entry of the virus into the cell, prevents the multiplication of the cell. It's a paper just published 3 days back.
Okay.
Anyone who wanted a copy of that one, I can send a soft copy to them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's. Thank you for clarifying that, Dr. Majeed. There's another question, which is that is frequent headache a sign of low immunity? You know, that's a very simple question, but very relevant one. So I'd request Dr. Tripathi to let us know that do you think headaches are in any way a symptom of low immunity for anybody? Can they be considered like a possibility of low immunity?
It is depending on the environmental condition is also the factor. It's immunity is the factor. Definitely might be possible due to the tiredness, stress, and environmental factor is also can be considered as a factor to have the the frequent headache. However, it is a very good insight we can take from Dr. Rana.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if Dr. Rana would like to add or to that, sir, is headache really an indicator of immunity in any way? Frequent headaches, does it correlate to lower immunity or compromised immunity, Dr. Rana?
What a headache?
Yes, sir. So somebody is asking that is frequent headaches correlated to a low level of immunity?
I don't think so. Chronic headache, frequent headaches, most of times there is no pathology within them. They're most of the time they're because of stress. They are mostly stress related. And obviously, if there is stress is reduced, then that may lead to stress is increased, and that may lead to decreased immunity. But it is not the vice versa that decreased immunity leads to something like headache. I'm not aware of that. So definitely, I know that there are some definite causes for headache, and those are. But most of the time, headaches, especially in female, there is always because of stress.
Yeah, besides stress being a reason for headache, one more thing that we all of us know is that if you have a bad gut, if you have constant bloating or regurgitation or reflux, that can give you a constant sense of heartburn and headache. So obviously, if you have a bad gut, you could have lower immunity also. So there seems to be some correlation there in that space. Yes, and there are a lot more questions, but we'll probably take them offline because I think we would like to sort of finish this on time. It's been my pleasure to be, thank you, Payal, for the opportunity, though I really am not the person to put all of this together, but I was more than happy to talk to all of you and be a part of this very, very important discussion. We should continue to do more of it and get into this of how immunity works, and get to specific guidelines that we can roll out for people. Not just scientific discussion, which is important. I think from Assocham, we should come out with specific guidelines that people can actually use on a day-to-day basis and actually understand and learn from them. So I think that is how we can also go forward. So everybody present here, Dr. Hiranandani, Dr. Majeed, Dr. Rana, Dr. Kocha, Dr. Tripathi, Dr. Sarang, Dr. Lakshmi, and the entire hard-working team of Assocham. Thank you all for this webinar. I'll take your leave now and look forward to seeing everybody physically sometime soon in the real world,
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.